Chicago Bears quarterback Caleb Williams finally talked to the media today about the article that was leaked last week in regards to him not wanting to come to Chicago. Welcome to Claws Up, Bear Down, where we dive deep in all things Chicago Bears football. This is the instant reaction to the Caleb Williams OTAs presser and availability, and just my general thoughts about how I felt it went. Now, the first thing I'll say is that Caleb Williams came out right away and he said and spoke directly about the article. No wishy-washy, no, I'm just here so I don't get fined. He went ahead and he stood up there like a man and he spoke his piece. He also instantly acknowledged that he did like Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell was just named the NFL Coach of the Year, and they had all the great assistants, and they had a great offense and offensive weapons, and Caleb was willing to acknowledge that he did like the Vikings situation in fact. He also went out and he talked about the Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. The Bears have trash quarterbacks. He didn't say the trash quarterbacks part. That's what I'm telling you. But those are facts. There's reason and concern about being a young, talented quarterback coming to Chicago. The Chicago Bears organization has proved they have not been able to support a young quarterback or pick the right quarterback or have the right coaching staff around him or the right weapons around him to make sure that he is being successful. And Caleb Williams talked about it. He said that they were looking at this and going, what are we going to do? There was a defensive head coach. There was a Shane Waldron who just got fired as the offensive coordinator. It was a mess in Chicago. And the Vikings had a better situation. Hurts my heart to say it, but Kevin O'Connell's a much better football coach than Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron combined. So when you look at those two situations, I don't really blame the family, Caleb Williams' family, for wanting to go to Minnesota and not Chicago. In his opening statement too, he wanted to make sure that everyone remembered the most important thing to him was that he wanted to be in Chicago. His first pre-draft meeting was with Minnesota, and then he went to Chicago. And after that fact, he decided, I want to be here. I want to be a Chicago Bear. I want to be the guy that helps turn things around. I want to be the first 4,000-yard passer. He made that choice. You've seen it happen before. John Elway, Elon Manning. This isn't the first time that a top talented quarterback was like, well, I don't know if I should go to the place that's going to pick me. So that part, it makes a lot of sense that they had questions and concerns. I do think in the beginning, he kind of seemed agitated or uncomfortable up there. And then as the interviews went on or as the questions went on, he seemed to feel more comfortable and more open about what is going on and how he felt about it all. He did call it a distraction from last week going into this week. I am surprised they didn't have him talk last week. They waited until this week. For whatever reason, it just seems to be the Chicago Bears way that they can't make quick decisions when it comes to PR. They like to wait and wait and wait and not have instant reaction and not go after the issues right away. Caleb reflected quite a bit on last year, the good, the bad, the indifferent. It wasn't a perfect season, but it wasn't a terrible season. It was a pretty good season for a rookie quarterback, especially with all the nonsense going on around him. Offensive coordinator fired, head coach fired, new offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator becomes the head coach. It was chaos last year with the Bears coaching staff, and it was a terrible situation in the end. When you look at the coaching situation, the hesitation, the concerns, they all became prophecy. It all happened. All the nonsense continued throughout the season, and they had to make in-season changes. Caleb was also asked about the part of the article that said he didn't know how to watch film. Caleb ended up giggling about it. He's like, I know how to watch film, but I don't know, or I want to know more about what I should be looking for. He said shortcuts at first. I want to know what the shortcuts are, but really I think what he meant was like, how do I look at an NFL defense and dissect it to a point that makes me most effective? What's the most efficient way that you can be an NFL quarterback by watching film? And I think that's why Case Keenum's here. Case Keenum might be QB3, might be QB2, it really doesn't matter. But Case Keenum is here to teach him how to watch film and prepare like a professional. He's still only 23. Most of us, I couldn't imagine being the face of a franchise at 23. I barely held my life together at 23. So you have a lot of pressure. You have a superstar quarterback who has a limitless talent with his arm, but you need some help along the way. And it's not a ridiculous thing for Caleb to go, hey, can you guys teach me a little bit about how I should be watching film, what I should be looking for, how the defenses look in the NFL? I don't think that's crazy. I think that part got blown out of proportion. Caleb Williams watched film, and he knows how to watch film. But there's intricacies in the NFL. It's a very difficult sport. I am a diehard fan. And like NFL offenses, you have the basic understanding of football and how plays work and like play action pass and shotgun and like all that stuff. But like the intricacies of cover 2 and cover 3 and cover 0 and when they drop down to cover 4 and when the middle linebacker is bluffing and when there's a stunt and who calls a stunt, what it looks like when the quarter's got his hips turned the wrong way or the right way. Like those things I can imagine while you have a great knowledge of it as a quarterback. At the NFL level, it's a completely different thing. So I don't think it's unreasonable for Caleb to want to learn from his coaches how to watch film and what he should be doing as an NFL quarterback. That's part of the coaching process. You have to help coach him on everything he does. He was also asked about Ben Johnson. He said he's very detailed, very consistent, and that he wants to win. There was also a time he said the Ben Johnson effect a couple times, but he kind of like leaned in and said the Ben Johnson effect. And I couldn't tell if he was being like facetious. I don't know. It was weird to me. It was weird to me because he kind of just leans in and goes, the Ben Johnson effect. And I don't know if that's in comment to some of the reporters going, I can't believe that Caleb Williams isn't the greatest quarterback of all time now that Ben Johnson is coach. Or if it's just that Ben Johnson wants his left leg in front instead of his right foot in front. And we've seen that happen with Chicago Bears quarterbacks. They're like, hey, you've done one way your whole entire life. Well, now you're a Chicago Bear. We're going to switch it up for you. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. But Ben Johnson wants it that way. Ben Johnson's going to get it that way. But that was the only part of the presser I was kind of like, it's a little weird. It's a little strange, isn't it? Just the way, the Ben Johnson effect. I don't know. Did confirm that he talked to the building about it. He said Ryan and Ted Phillips is my guess as he was talking to. That part of the details about who he has to talk to in the building, but like I don't think he needs to talk about it with the team. Is he throwing the ball well? Is he trying to get better? Is he watching his film? Is he being a good teammate? Is he being encouraging? All those things are more important to me than him talking to Ryan Poles about what the article says. And the reporter too, they went out there and they go, Caleb, does your dad speak for you? What? No, he's a 23-year-old man. And like dads have opinions. My dad's got a lot of opinions that I don't agree with. Caleb Williams' dad doesn't speak for Caleb Williams. I'm interested to see how the book kind of plays out because it's not done. I hope that this is done for now, but it's done until the story comes out. The book actually comes out is my guess. The reporters and Chicago media having to throw this down our throats for a full straight week. I believe Caleb Williams should have spoke about it last week, but they decided not to have him talk about it. Yesterday, the Score put out a tweet, what do you think about the article? Like, there has to be something else to talk about with the Bears. There has to be. And the Bears run the town. The Cubs are red hot right now, and all they can talk about is the Bears. The sports media guys and gals out here asking these questions and on the radio, there has to be something else to talk about. I hope that this is the last time we talk about it for a while. It is a story, but the length of this story going on and these questions, I wasn't pissed off until they asked Case Keenum about it, and Case Keenum gave the pro answer of like, well, I'll let Caleb Williams handle it. I'm not paying attention to the media. And then they asked Montez Sweat about it too. What do you think about the Caleb Williams article? It's like there's other things going on. What robbed us today is like we don't know how the offense actually went. I saw a couple tweets about how the offense went today, but you didn't get to hear anything about what practice is going like because they're asking about an article of an excerpt of a book that comes out in 4 months that Caleb Williams and his dad probably talked to months ago and didn't fully grasp how the article was going to be portrayed or how the book was going to be written. And then it's released by ESPN, and they knew what they were doing, and we're all revved up about it, and I'm still talking about it. These things take time. And I think as Bears fans, we can understand the concern of a father who was wanting his son to go in the best situation possible to him have success. That's a baseline parental need or want. When you go to a job interview, you are choosing to get that job or try to get that job. Caleb Williams doesn't have any decision over where he lives, what city he goes to, who he works for, who his coach is, and they get paid millions of dollars to do it, but you have zero choice in that matter. And his real only choice beginning would have been to try to not come to Chicago and force a trade. I'm glad it all worked out where he is in Chicago. Caleb made it clear that he is going to be focused on the future and the present going forward. This should be the end of the media asking him all these questions about the article. This one day, they got their 15 minutes or however long it was. That's enough. Now we're on to football things. Where I believe this will come up again is that the book is literally getting released the day after the Bears play the Vikings on Monday Night Football, and the confluence of the Vikings and the Bears and Caleb Williams and the book, all those things, it's going to bubble up and erupt around the first game. So Bears fans, brace yourselves. A lot of us want this to be over with, but it's not quite done. I think there's a little pause. I think that when it comes to September, it's gonna ramp up a little bit. Now, if he goes out there and he looks dynamite and the Bears blow the Vikings out of the water, it's done. It's over with. The book is the book and whatever. If it doesn't go well that first game, it's going to be a huge story. It's going to be all over ESPN and it's going to be all over Fox and all over CHGO. We move on from the Bears, getting through OTAs and getting into training camp and getting along with the excitement of the season that's going on. Ben Johnson's still the head coach. Caleb Williams is still the quarterback. Bears are in good shape. Bears are in good shape. But let me know what you think. What did you think of Caleb Williams' press conference today? Hit that like button, smash the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Claws up, bear down.